Okay, we're going to see if we can get started on this next Adobe Illustrator project today. And this movie is being produced in a situation where there's a field trip going on, and some are present and some are not. So if you're here, great. And if you're not, well, we'll get you caught up. All right. So anyway, we're kind of working off of this handout. This describes the idea. This is designing with type. I'll show you an example in just a minute. We're going to use pretty much nothing but the type tool. This is designed to get you used to the type tool and the fonts and what you can do with it in Illustrator and how it works. And so you're going to design with type, pretty much type only. Okay. This will be done in Illustrator, and it will be done on a new artboard. I'm going to show you how to do this in just a second, because you're going to want a certain size, so I'll show you how to set it all up. But it's going to be you're going to create a new artboard to work with. It'll be blank when you start, and then off you go. So these things right here about how to get this set up and how to get it going, I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Here are requirements. Let me hop over here and show you this. This is my example. All right, this is an artboard that is filled with text, and if you look at it a little bit carefully, you'll find my name on there. I stuck my name on the artboard, and then the rest of the artboard is filled with things I like, and that's the idea behind this assignment. You put your name on it, and then you fill it up with things that you like, things that you enjoy, things you're into, and I'm going to kind of explain all the options that you have here in a minute. But let's go back here. One of the requirements here is that you really do pack the page, not much empty space. All right, you're trying to use a variety of use a lot of different things and use a variety of sizes and turn things if you need to, but part of it is pack the page, fill the page up. Everything in the design is created with the type tool. We're not using shapes, we're not using photographs, we're not getting things from the internet. The limitation on this is pretty much only type. The only exception I'm making here to the no shapes rule is if you want to draw a big rectangle that's a certain color and put it behind everything so it looks like your board full of text has a colored background, you could do that. That would be okay. I would do that last if you're going to do it. You got to include your first and last name somewhere on the page, and how big it is up to you. You can make it small if you want to. You could put your middle name on there if you want, but that's up to you. That's your call. First and last are required. Also, your first, middle, last name do not count in the calculation of the grade, which I'll explain here in just a minute. And so the rest of the page, after you have your name on it, just gets filled up with stuff you like. And it could be anything. It could be foods or drinks or friends' names or TV shows or movies or books or colors or whatever you like. Put it on there. Anything you like. Chips, different kinds of Doritos, whatever. Put whatever you like on there. All right. Colors are going to be up to you. You can use a variety of colors, or you can do it all in one color. If you have a color you love and you want to use it the whole time, great, go ahead. Fonts are going to be up to you. You could use a variety of fonts if you want, or you could kind of stick with one font if you want to. Size of the words is really going to help you when it comes to filling the artboard. You got to fill it so it makes some things big and makes some things small. That's part of the trick, right? Fill the artboard, and size will help you. I'm going to show you this in a minute. You can also visit a website called fonts.adobe.com, and you can activate additional fonts if you want to put that time into it. I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute. So the points work like this. The project is worth 50 points. You have to pack the page. If I feel like you had too much empty space, 5 points off. If you have your name and then you give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, those are things that you like, items on the page, 5 or fewer, 30 points, that's a D. You can do better. If you have your name and then when I count these, if I count 6, 7, 8, 9, all right, grade's going up. You're up to 35 points. If you have your name on it and then I count 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, okay, grade's going up. You're up in the 40-point range. And here's your magic number on this assignment. If you have your name and then you have at least 15 more items, you could have more, 15 or more items, then 50 out of 50 A+. Okay? Now I've got some tips here on the handout, but I'm not going to read those to you. I'll do a little bit of demonstrating here in Illustrator in just a minute. You got to save your work. Save your work whenever you're coming to a stopping point. You have to save your work, and eventually you'll have to submit it and turn it in. All right, so back here on Illustrator, again, you're looking at mine right now, and mine, again, it's got my name on it, and then it's got all kinds of stuff on there that I like. And you'll notice that I use the same font for everything. Everything is in the same font, but I used a variety of colors, right? Those are decisions you're going to make. You're going to try to fill up an artboard with your name on it and then put stuff you like on there. Okay? All right, now I want to hop out of Illustrator here for a minute. I'm going to get this down out of the way. I got a whole bunch of stuff open here. All right, so let's take a look at a little bit of the flow of, okay, so how does this happen? What you'll do, you'll start Illustrator. All right, I'm firing that up right now. Here it comes. I'll fire up Illustrator. Get it going. Okay, then I'm going to make a new file. Top left, I'm going to make a new file. I'm going to go here to where it says print. I'm going to go here to where it says letter. And then over on the right-hand side, there are these buttons for orientation, portrait or landscape. And I really don't, you could do it either way. I like landscape better than portrait for this. Landscape is turning the page sideways, right? So it's wider. Portrait would be with it taller. So I want it landscape, but you could really choose whichever orientation you want. Here's a little thing that I think is kind of, to me, it's worth doing. It's not the end of the world if you don't. On this color mode right here, I'm going to switch it from CMYK to RGB. I like the RGB. I like the way the computer does RGB color better than CMYK, but that's not a big deal. All right, if you forget to do that, don't worry about it. And I'm going to click Create, and there it is. Yay. Okay, star of the show today is the Type tool. It's a capital letter T on the toolbar, not a surprise there. Be careful here. I'll show you more about this in a minute. If you click your mouse and hold, we've done this in Photoshop before if you were around for that. If you click and hold, there is a little flyout menu that pops out, and the Type tool is just the normal Type tool. There's also a vertical Type tool, and there's this thing called the Type on a Path tool, which don't even do that on this assignment. You might want to try vertical Type. I'll show you in a minute, but I'm just mostly going to use the regular Type tool right here. All right, well, let's just start with something, right? First of all, what you want to do, you don't want to come out here and like drag a box with the Type tool and then let go, because it's going to do this kind of thing, and it's not that it's the end of the world, but it's not really going to work the best for what we're doing. So I'm just going to use my black arrow tool, and I'm going to select that Type box that I made and get rid of it. Here's what I would do if I were you. I would click the Type tool, come out here and just click once. Do a single click. Don't make a box, just do a single click. It's going to do kind of like Photoshop. It's going to put lorem ipsum on the artboard. All right, but I'm going to just backspace that out. Let's say that I want to put my first name. All right, so I'm going to turn on my caps lock because I want them to be all capital letters, but that's up to you. So I've got my first name. Now that I've got it on there, I'm going to make sure I switch to the black arrow tool, and then that's what allows me to grab this thing and make it as big as I want to make it, right? I can make that as big as I want. When I'm working with text, over here on the right-hand side there, you should see a character panel that says, right now mine says Myriad Pro, Regular. There's some other settings here, things like that. The fill color is black. You can change the color, right? I could come along here and say, well, I'm going to make it orange. Okay, you change the fill color if you want to. Right now, it doesn't have, if you look at the appearance part of the panel over here, there's no stroke on the lettering. Stroke is an outline, so I could bump that up. I could just kind of bump that up to a little bit bigger, and you can add a stroke, and I could change the stroke color if I want to. So these are decisions that you make about fill color and stroke, and how thick you want the stroke, and do you even want a stroke, and what color do you want the stroke, and all those kinds of things. Down here on the character panel, I can come along and decide, gosh, let's change, do you want to change the font? So maybe I'll use this. And, scroll this. If you're looking at mine and saying, oh, gosh, there's a font on Mr. Arvin's that I want, you might not have the same fonts as me. I'll show you more about that in a minute. But you can scroll through here and just kind of be looking around and thinking, okay, all right. And remember what I told you earlier, that what you do with fonts is up to you. You could use a big variety of fonts on this assignment, or you could use the same font the whole time if you want to. I'll just go with this bungee right now. Maybe I'll make that a little bit smaller and just park that someplace. And so you're starting to see how this works, right? I've got this bungee font, and I make it orange, I make it big. Now, let's say that, I want to put my last name on there, and maybe I want my last name to look really similar to that. Okay. Well, we could do the same kind of duplicating trick that we did on our previous assignment. If you take your black arrow tool, the selection tool, hold the Alt key, drag the object, that made a copy of it. The nice thing about that is now this one has the same size and color and font and everything as my first one, but I don't want two of them that have my first name. So I'm going to double click on it. If you just do a double click with the black arrow, it gets you into editing mode, and now it's just like using Google Docs or whatever, right? I can arrow around and I can backspace and I can make this say something different. Then when you get done, you want to make sure you switch to the black arrow, and now I can move that around and kind of park it wherever I want it to be and things like that. Let's look at something else here. If I come along here and I Alt drag my first name to make a duplicate, I'll double click it. Maybe I want to include, I'll just drag over that, and I want to include my middle name. All right, cool. I'll switch to my black arrow, and maybe I want to rotate that. Maybe that's one of the things that you can do on this assignment, is you can rotate things to make them fit and get them in there where you want. All right, well, if I point to a corner, and I'm going to hold the Shift key because that kind of locks it into these 45-degree increments here, and so I could just turn it up like that, and then I could pull it in like that. I can still size it and stuff like that. And maybe I want to kind of play with, sizing, and all the fonts behave a little bit differently, but okay, all right. So, it's kind of starting to come together already. Look at that, cool. Right? Now, I've got my name on there, and now I got to start thinking of things that I enjoy, things I like. And again, just let your brain go, man. It could be different kinds of foods or drinks or snacks or movies or books or TV shows or anime characters or sports or athletes or brand names, or just let it fly, right? Let it go. All right. So I like cycling. I'm kind of a cyclist, and I like all right. So my bike is a Specialized. It's a brand name, right? So that's one of the things maybe I want to put on there is Specialized bikes and bike gear and stuff like that. Okay, so I've got that on there, and I could do all the things. I could come over here and I could change that font. I could make it bigger or whatever. And where it says regular over here, sometimes you'll have like bold, italic, thin. You'll have different forms of the font. It just depends on the font you're using. Maybe on Specialized, I want to make that some shade of blue, and maybe I do want a little bit of a stroke on it or whatever. That's where you make all those decisions about how do you want that to look? What do you want to do? And then remember, you have the option as you work your way through here, if you think, well, all right, I don't want to just really recreate that all the time. You can Alt drag it, and so here's another thing that I love to do. I love doing jigsaw puzzles. All right. So I did an Alt drag, and I made that say what I wanted it to say, and maybe I want to change the color of that one, and maybe I want to do something with the, again, just work it, right? And you can stretch things if you think, I want that to fit kind of there. Well, all right, so stretch it, make it fit, make it, if you want it smaller, make it smaller. If you want it bigger, make it bigger. Just use your black arrow and kind of work it and manipulate it and get it in there where you want, and just keep working. Maybe I'll make a new one this time. And I like to play Halo. Right now I'm playing Halo Infinite. Did I spell that right? I think I did. And so maybe I'm going to make that kind of a green color. Boom. And maybe I'll give that's not terribly green, is it? A little bit of a stroke there. Maybe make that a little bit bigger. Maybe rotate that like I was showing you. And drop that in maybe like over here and just kind of play with it and make it fit the way I want. And so you're starting to see how this whole thing works, right? You just kind of build, do it. Part of what you got to do here is think, right? You got to think of things that I can put on there. And you know, gosh, have a little bit of fun. Let's say that I love, I got the paintbrush instead of the type tool. I didn't mean to do that. I love Oreo cookies, right? So I'm gonna take that, but I'm gonna make it really small, and I'm going to rotate it. Look where I'm gonna put it. Yeep. Have a little fun, right? Look, I'll zoom in on that, and you'll see I put it in the cutout of the O of my first name, right? I like Oreos, so I'm gonna put it on there, and I stuck it inside the O. Looky there. So you're getting the idea, right? I hope you're getting the idea. You see what you got to do. And really part of what... No, sorry. I just opened the wrong thing. My bad. Open recent. Where's my recent files? No, I keep opening the wrong thing. Recent files, text demo. So eventually, and this is one that has a different font on it. Eventually, fill it up. Right? Ooh, I do want to show you this real quick. You can go to, if you want, you can go to fonts.adobe.com. All right, I'm kind of showing you that address, fonts.adobe.com. When you get there, you can sign in over on the right-hand side with Google. You have an Adobe account because you're in our school. And I think it'll look kind of like this, right? And the reason all of my sample things in here say area 1027 is because of right here. You can put in whatever sample text you want, and it will show you what that font would look like. And the reason I have it, it's weird. It looks weird that I have it written all those different ways, but I wanted to see what area 1027 looked like in small letters, capital letters, mixed letters, all that kind of thing. So over here on the left-hand side, there's these filters where there's like futuristic or cursive or Art Deco. What if I click Art Deco? So here are the fonts that are available in Art Deco, right? And if you see a font you like, here's the idea. Like maybe I decide I like this one right here. I could say View Family. It's called Tomeric Display. And then up here on the right-hand side, it says Activate 4 Fonts, and there's this little slide switch. So I can click that, and it's going to activate the fonts. Tomeric Display. Now if I go back over here to Illustrator, and let me go back over to this one, and I take the Type tool, and I look on here, and I'm looking. I hope this doesn't make a liar out of me. OPQR, these are alphabetical. Oh, look, right? I just activated that font off of that fonts.adobe.com website. I just activated it, and look right there. Whee! It's available for me now in Illustrator. I found a font that I like on that website, and I activated it, and now I could use it if I wanted to use it. So you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but that's a little trick that I showed you, right? Go to fonts.adobe.com, sign in with Google, and then you can browse around through all of those fonts and find out whatever you feel like you might want to activate. It's okay. All right, I got to bail. I got to get out of this video and let you get to work. And this is going to be a multiple day thing for sure, at least a 2-day thing. And because of this field trip, it might even wind up being a 3-day thing. I don't know. It's just going to kind of depend on who gets to be in class when. So we'll see. Anyway, off you go.